What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Turning Point YouTube video, and today I just want to do a trade recap for yesterday, so the February 12th. And on this trade, I made around 8 grand on my Express. So let's just get straight into it. It's as simple as it is, to keep it simple, literally just using fibs and basic ICT knowledge, right? And obviously like a sense of draw and liquidity, right? So the biggest factor of this trade was the 4-hour wick, the 4-hour rejection block. And all the rejection block is when a candle sweeps a candle's high or low, or sweeps some sort of liquidity and closes back within the range. So you see this 4-hour candle swept this candle's high, swept this candle's high, and closed back within the range, meaning that it didn't close outside of here, right? So now we have a rejection block. A lot of people use the CEs of rejection blocks, but I like using CEs too, but in this scenario, I liked the reaction off the 706. And as I said in one of my other videos, that the 706 is one of my favorite confluences, especially for the fib. There's usually always a reaction, 706 and 786. 706 in mine testing, for testing, but as you can see here, that was literally the high of day, by the way, the 706. So I just marked that off, right? And actually I'll keep the fib there because you guys see it. So going into the day, I think we had non-farm employment, we had NFP or payroll or something like that. So tap 706. Look at this reaction, literally the high. You could have entered that and banked crazy, but I didn't enter off of just that. I wanted a little bit extra confirmation just to be safe. So there was another extra piece of confirmation. As I said, remember I said the 706. Look at this as well. Look where we rejected on this leg, 706. And I'll show you another 706 as well. But just to go on a higher time frame, right? Just looking at what do we have? What do we see here? We have all of this low resistance liquidity, right? All that's meaning is that there's stacked lows or highs, right? You see these lows aren't getting swept, so it didn't get swept. This didn't get swept. This didn't get swept. This didn't get swept. This one got swept, but you can really just take your trend line and just draw it, right? You see? So we have all that LR, right? No resistance liquidity. Then we have this accumulation right here, this area. Then we have the manipulation up, leaving 1 15-minute fair value gap, right? And also we have the 5-minute, but I always like using the highest time frame inversions. Excuse me. And then so we have this. I was like, okay, if we get, I put it in Discord, and I have proof of that on my TikTok at Nine Trades. But I was like, if we get this 15-minute CISD right here, we get the 15-minute inverse, we're gonna run all these lows and even lower, right? So, and to keep adding to that, why I didn't, and you see, if I entered on the 15-minute inverse, I would have entered till down here. But I saw how bearish this candle was at one point, but I didn't enter here. And I was like, even you could still enter here just because we respected this very tiny bearish for value gap right there. And then also, if you look at this 5-minute bearish for value gap got respected on market open. And then look, again, this 706 aligns with the consequent encroachment, or the CE, the 50% of this fair value gap. And look where we rejected. I just showed you 3 examples of the 0.706 being respected. It's literally a T. So now if you combine these fib levels with like PD arrays, like fair value gaps, look at that. So once I saw, my best way to find draw on liquidity is just looking at what PD arrays are being respected, right? We're disrespecting these bullish PD arrays, and we're respecting these bearish ones. So I'm like, we're going to want lower price. And we also have all this low resistance liquidity. So I was like, all right, I entered short. I didn't enter directly on the 706, but I entered, if I remember correctly, it was 378 I entered around. Yeah, 378. Around there, I'm pretty sure. I just liked how it was wicking a lot. And then once we came up here, I was like, all right, that's all the confluence I need to keep holding this position. I had my stop loss at the high, and I was like, there's no way we're going to come up here, because just how bearish this displacement was from the 706. And then I targeted, once I saw the displacement through London low, I was like, I want more. And I was like, I'm going to keep holding this because we have all of this low resistance liquidity to run. And then I exited. I took partials at this. Actually, I took partials at the CE of this 4-hour rejection block. And why is this a rejection block? And I'll delete this fib so it's easy for you guys to see. As I said, long wick, swept some sort of liquidity, right? Swept this candle, and closed back within the range. I took partials at the CE right here, and then my last TP was the 706 because you saw how we rejected from 706 before, so just to play it safe. But then also, market sold off like so much more. But obviously, I didn't know that, right? And we had a lot more liquidity, and we had also this 4-hour fair value gap to target, right? So that's what we ended up getting. But yeah, so when you're just looking for areas to draw on liquidity, look at unmitigated fair value gaps. Because fair value gaps are imbalances in the market, so they must be targeted, right? So that's what I was looking for. But other than that, this was the trade. And, I mean, it played out perfectly, literally. And if you entered on the 706, like that, would have been even more RR. That's a 1 to 8. But look at this beautiful too. And a lot of people are trying to long out of this, and I'm like, you just have to look at the higher time frame, right? We still have this 4-hour fair value gap to get mitigated down here, right? We still have this low right here, this low. It's all liquidity just being sitting there, you know what I mean? So we have to target all of that shit. So other than that, that was the trade. And if you guys want to learn more about fibs and how we use fib retracements combined with PD arrays, rejection blocks, low volume nodes on the volume profile, all of that's going to be in our module 3 and premium. But other than that, if you're just looking for trading community, if you want have people to answer your questions, your psychology needs, anything, just join us here at the Turning Point. The link's in the description, but if you're not going to check it, it's discord.gg/the turning point. So I'd recommend you guys join. Just when you join, verifying the server, and then we'll get back to you and everything. But anything you need trading wise, if you feel like you're stuck, come give us a try, see how you like it. But other than that, I want to thank you guys for watching the YouTube video. I'm glad if this could have helped you in any way possible. But other than that, you guys have a great weekend. Bye.